Which console do you believe is better? The smooth graphics of the PlayStation 4, the comfortability of the Xbox One, the colorful aspects of a Nintendo Switch, or the complex components of a PC? These consoles became so advanced because of the years of their ancestors. With decades of technological advances, with millions of dollars spent by gaming companies, we're lucky enough to see the peak of video game evolution. But these consoles weren't always as powerful as they are now, and we're going to speak about them now on Import Legacy.
The world's first video game console came out in 1972, named the Magnavox Odyssey. It was extremely simple, and it didn't even have sound capabilities. Only 3 dots were shown on the screen when connected to the television, and the dots would change depending on the game being played. However, people loved it, and it sold over 100 million units. It is still one of the highest selling consoles of all time, and these consoles are now worth hundreds of dollars in vintage condition, soon starting the first generation of video games.
Next came the infamous Atari Pong, first starting as an arcade game later on. First commercially successful video game, which helped to establish the video game industry with the Magnavox Odyssey. Even though it was just a table tennis sports game featuring 2 simple graphics, it still excited many who bought it.
In 1977, Atari created a new console called the Atari 2600 that became the godfather of modern video game systems and helped spawn a multi-billion-dollar industry. Atari sold over 30 million of the consoles, and together with other companies, sold hundreds of millions of games. Atari started the brand of new video game mascots like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, and even the Mario Bros. A great way to start the second generation. This generation also started the first handheld consoles, the Game & Watch from the company Nintendo. A portable console to be taken on the go with friends and family was a revolutionary tactic for video games and spawned massive success for Nintendo.
In 1983, Nintendo grew rapidly in popularity when the Nintendo Entertainment System came out, commonly known as the NES. It was an American version of the company's family computer platform in Japan, commonly known as the Famicom. As the biggest selling console of its time, it helped video games revive from the crash of 1983, where the revenue of video game companies fell from $3.2 billion to $100 million. That's 97% of the money gone. The NES was able to sell up to 62 million units worldwide. With Nintendo though, another company was on the rise. Sega! During the rise of the NES, Sega released the Master System, which was, again, an American version of the Sega Mark III sold in Japan. Its creation started the development of Sonic the Hedgehog and even helped Mortal Kombat, selling up to 13 million units worldwide.
The Mega Drive was released in Japan on October 29, 1988. Sega built their marketing campaign around the new mascot Sonic the Hedgehog, pushing the Genesis as a cooler alternative to Nintendo's console, and inventing the term blast processing to suggest that the Genesis was capable of handling games with faster motion than the Super NES. When the arcade game Mortal Kombat was ported for home release on the Genesis, a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo decided to censor the game's gore, but Sega kept the content in the game via a code entered at the start screen. Sega's version of Mortal Kombat received generally more favorable reviews in the gaming press and outsold the SNES version 3-1. Nintendo's Game Boy handheld was first released in 1989. The gaming device was the brainchild of long-term Nintendo employee Gunpei Yokoi, who was the person behind the Ultra Hand, an expanding arm toy created and produced by Nintendo in 1970, long before Nintendo would ever enter the video game market.
On December 3, 1994, the company Sony Corporation also joined the video game entertainment industry and produced the next evolution of games, the PlayStation. This console was the first video game console to ship 100 million units in under 10 years after its initial launch. Back in 1988, Sony entered into an agreement with Nintendo to develop a CD-ROM attachment, known as the Super Disc, for the soon-to-be-released Super Nintendo. Due to many contractual and licensing problems, the Super Disc was never released. Instead, a modified version was introduced by Sony, the PlayStation. Soon after, Nintendo developed another console that had its own unique graphics, called the Nintendo 64. It was positively reviewed by critics with its groundbreaking development that would completely change the function of video game consoles, the analog stick. This simple piece reworked how games were played. For example, the ease of aiming with the analog stick helped popularize the first-person shooter genre on home consoles. with the fan favorite GoldenEye 007 becoming the first successful non-PC based shooter.
Sub-big consoles from the 6th generation are the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and the Xbox. What Sony had established with the original PlayStation was a major factor in the PlayStation 2's dominance, both in terms of securing a good consumer base and attracting third-party developers, with the gradual increase in one reinforcing the other. Sony Computer Entertainment secured licensing for key games such as Final Fantasy X, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty, enabling the PS2 to outperform its competitors' launches. The console ended up becoming the top-selling console of this generation, rather than its competing consoles. The GameCube was the first Nintendo console to use optical discs as its primary storage medium. The discs are in the mini DVD format, and the system was not designed to play full-size DVDs or audio CDs, unlike its competitors, and focus on gaming instead. Announced in 2000, the Xbox was graphically powerful compared to its rivals, a processor that would be found on a standard PC. In November 2002, the technology company Microsoft launched Xbox Live, a fee-based online gaming service that enabled subscribers to download new content and contact with other players through a brand-board connection. Unlike online services from Sega and Sony, Xbox Live had support an original console designed through an integrated Ethernet port. The service gave Microsoft an early foothold in online gaming and would help the Xbox become a competitor in the 6th generation of the consoles. The popularity of blockbuster titles such as Bungie's Halo 2 contributed to the popularity of online console gaming, and in particular first-person shooters. The Xbox had a record-breaking launch in North America, selling 1.5 million units before the end of 2001, aided by popularity of one of the system's launch titles, Halo Combat Evolved, which sold 1 million units by April 2002. The system went on to sell a worldwide total of 24 million units, including 16 million in North America.
7th generation consoles include the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and the Wii. The Xbox 360 gained an early lead in terms of market share, largely due to its established Xbox Live online gaming system, and its early launch date, which was 1 year before its rivals. The PlayStation 3 was released on November 11, 2006 in Japan, and November 17, 2006 in the US and Canada. Sony would provide support for its console with new titles from first-party franchises such as Gran Turismo, Team Ico, and God of War, and secured a number of highly anticipated third-party exclusive titles, including Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of Patriots, Yakuza 3, and Valkyrie Chronicles, titles that were originally exclusive or recognized with the platforms such as Devil May Cry, Ace Combat, Virtua Fighter, and Monster Hunter have been released on other platforms. Nintendo entered this generation with a new approach embodied by its Wii. The company planned to attract current hardcore and casual gamers, non-gamers, and lapsed gamers by focusing on new gameplay experiences and new forms of interaction with games with cutting-edge graphics and expensive technology.
Now comes the consoles we all know and love today. Starting with the beloved PlayStation 4, it places an increased emphasis on social interaction and integration with other devices and services, including the ability to play games off-console on PlayStation Vita and other supported devices, and ability to stream gameplay online with your friends, with them controlling gameplay remotely. The console's controller was also redesigned and improved over the PlayStation 3, with improved buttons and analog sticks, and an integrated touchpad among other changes. The console also supports HDR10, high dynamic range video, and playback of 4K resolution multimedia, selling over 89 million units. The honored Xbox One controller was redesigned over the Xbox 360s, with redesigned body, D-pad, and triggers capable of delivering directional haptic feedback. The console places an increased emphasis on cloud computing, as well as social networking features and ability to record and share video game clips or screenshots from gameplay, or live stream directly to streaming services such as Mixer and Twitch. Games can also be played off-console via a local area network on supported Windows 10 devices. The console can play Blu-ray disc and overlay live television programming from an existing set-top box or digital tuner for digital terrestrial television with an enhanced program guide, selling over 42 million units. And of course, the greatest video game company from the 3rd generation, Nintendo, designed the Nintendo Switch. It is a hybrid console that can be used as a stationary and portable device. Its wireless Joy-Con controllers with standard buttons and directional analog sticks for user input, motion sensing, and tactical feedback can attach to both sides of the console to support handheld style play. They can also connect to a grip accessory to provide a traditional home console gamepad or be used individually in hand like the Wii Fit remote, supporting local multiplayer modes. The Nintendo Switch's software supports online gaming through internet connectivity, as well as local wireless and hot connectivity with other Switch consoles, selling over 35 million units.
Consoles have really grown up over the past decade, and now are reaching even further in evolution from PC gaming with 4K graphics and virtual reality within interactive gaming. The development of consoles is never ending and can only bring more. My partner started this video asking, which console is better? But in reality, they're all incredible in their own way. They're able to bring friends and family closer or strengthen a bond between communities. That is truly what makes a console so great. Now we can only imagine what Generation 9 has to offer for us and our future kids. My name is Matthew LaCour.
And Rich Cabesi.
Thank you for watching the history of video game consoles.